This episode is powered by Act Now Education. Go to www.actnoweducation.com for free comprehensive educational resources and opportunities for active duty, veterans, military spouses, and children.
Well, it's really all about content, right? People buy people. And so who are you? Who's behind it? People want to buy from people they trust more than knowing and liking they trust. And then obviously they want to be able to feel like they know you a little bit more, which lends itself to trusting people. But have some type of content strategy. And also when you're coming up with content, you want to make sure that a lot of the content is useful, that they can actually feel like they can apply it themselves.
Warriors, fall in. It's time for formation. It's great to be back on the mic. I know I took a couple of weeks off, but today we are joined with an exciting marketing strategist, an international business coach, and a speaker. In 2018, this military spouse that we have on our show today started her own business called Trend Lab. Now, she's been a facilitator for Bunker Labs and currently operates as an advisor for Act Now Education as well, which, as you might know from listening to this show, is a major supporter behind the Morning Formation podcast. Today, we're joined with Yasmin George, and she's going to talk to us about branding and things our military community can do better to increase their overall reputation to become aligned with building authority and leadership. Yasmin, thank you for joining us on the Morning Formation.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's an absolute honor, and it was an absolute honor to have met you last weekend as well, and got to see your hood, your local restaurants and your local festivities going on around there. So, you're the first Act Now team member that I've actually met in person. So, it was quite exciting. And outside of around the LA or the Philadelphia airport, I typically don't get out all that much, so it was great to get out and see Philadelphia and meet an outstanding member of the Act Now Education team as well.
Well, Philly was glad to have you. No, but it's pretty, when you work with a virtual team, obviously we have a lot of great friendships, but when you meet each other in person, it's just a different energy, and it's such an awesome experience to, be able to really connect in person. So I had a lot of fun. So hopefully you liked Philly and enjoyed the time out. But it was really great to just hang out and meet people.
I think a lot of the Act Now Education team really have a lot of things in common, and I think that's what helps bond us together. So it was great to meet you in person, and like you said, get that energy as far as ideas and content and overall passion for what we do. And as your experience, with being an Act Now Education team member and being a military spouse, in your opinion, Yasmin, what's the number one thing that you think our military community could do better to build their own brand? You've worked with Bunker Labs before. You've interacted and connected with so many folks in the military community. What can they do to better build their brand, whether it's them looking for a career or to start their own business?
That's a really good question. And there's a few things, but I would say the one most important thing is to be a very fast acting, resourceful problem solver with a really good attitude. Because whether you are looking for a new job in your interviewing, that's one of the things that employers look for, right? They want to know, what can you do to solve a problem? How would you handle the problem, and what's your personality or attitude to be able to do that? And that's why you get really interesting questions during interviews, like, sell me this pen. And because it's not necessarily what the answer is, but it's how you arrive to that answer, right? And same with if you're starting a business. A business is all about problem solving. It's never smooth sailing. We always think that when we start the business, like, hey, as long as I just get to this one point, then it'll be smooth sailing from there until you get to the next level problem that you have to solve. So you have to be okay with problem solving. And the best way to be a really good problem solver is to act fast and be very resourceful. And then if you don't have a good attitude with it, then you're just going to drain yourself and the people around you, and you're just not going to get the momentum you need. And so be a problem solver. And I think people from the military community they are that, right? They were taught to do that. Whether you're active duty or reserve, or you're a military spouse, you just got to learn to just go with the flow, make the best of things, and figure things out as you go along. And I think that is like the number one skill, because then people will also know you as that. It's like, oh, I can rely on KP because he'll figure it out. He's reliable. And he usually comes out with a really great result. But the other thing is that you want to be able to not be afraid to fail. You want to be able to fail forward as quickly as possible. So it just builds up your strength, your resiliency to new types of problems as well. And so again, I would just say it's problem solving and act quickly. Don't mull on it for too long, but have the right resources to help you through it, and great attitude.
Yeah, a lot of those things are things that we're taught in the military already, but it seems like for some reason when we move on and beyond the uniform, we tend to forget sort of who we are, and that we are very resilient. We're folks that actually think on their feet, military spouses included. And I love what you said about failing forward, because I mentioned that during one of my meetings with Toastmasters, and everybody in the meeting was like, oh, because failing is such a negative thing that it's so funny, because I talked to someone the other day about interviewing, and I was giving examples of how to answer questions during an interview, and I asked her, I said, so tell me a time when you failed. And she's like, I've never failed. And I was like, you know what? Interview over with, get out of here. I was like, you failed. Everybody's failed. It's okay to fail. So I love that you said failing forward, because I have failed before, and I've had to pick myself up. You have, everyone has. So that awesome. I really appreciate the insight that you gave on that, because that's certainly something that we need to understand and make sure that we are okay with going through those obstacles and going through that cycle as well.
It's important to normalize it.
Exactly. 100%. Like, it's okay to fail. Just pick yourself up, learn your lessons, and keep moving on. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether it's an interview, a business, anything, friendships, like there's so many things that you can apply that to, but as long as you take the lesson from it and carry it forward, then
exactly
you're almost guaranteed to be successful down the line. The only thing that's going to stop you from success is stopping.
Exactly. Losing your vision, giving up, tapping out, whatever you want to call it. Right. I think that's the best thing that you mentioned, besides thinking on your feet and staying motivated and whatnot, is it can be difficult at times, but you know what? It's like they always say, you never fully appreciate or understand the happy times until you have to deal with the lull and the sad times. And so it's the same thing with failing forward, man. You just got to keep moving on and being strong and being resilient. And that's who we are as a military community. And, it's so great because in, 2022, Yasmin, we have all these different social platforms out there. Back in the 80s, if you wanted to get advertisement, you had to pay for it in the newspaper or billboards, and some of the not the millennials, the Gen X's won't understand any of that because they were born into social media. Social media is great because we can advertise for ourselves for free. And a lot of folks in the military community right now are using social media to help advertise themselves, whether it be on LinkedIn, for their resumes, or for their businesses on Instagram or TikTok. Do you... what strategy do you have for folks out there looking to grow their social media, such as gaining more leads, more followers? What advice would you have for folks out there who are sort of new to a social media platform, looking to grow their business or their online reputation overall?
Well, it's really all about content, right? People buy people. And so who are you? Who's behind it? People want to buy from people they trust. More than knowing and liking, they trust. And then obviously they want to be able to feel like they know you a little bit more, which lends itself to trusting people. But have some type of content strategy. And also when you're coming up with content, you want to make sure that a lot of the content is useful, that they can actually feel like they can apply it themselves. And then batching that content to keep consistency going, and also just scheduling it out so you don't have to think about it. So that would be the first way. But also you want to be able to capture those leads as well, because you're only renting the audience. You're renting their attention span. So if you're trying to grow your audience, it's really just be interesting, and align who you are with who your audience is and what they would also like, and just have that information and consistency out there. And then also you can partner with other influencers, or a potential of doing lives or trainings, things like of that sort, because that'll give you more, it'll give you a lot more, I guess, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Access to more people other than your audience, right? So you're opening up your audience flow. And that's a fun way also to make it a little bit more interesting and more dynamic when you have more people that you can talk to and include into the audience that you have. So I would say those two things, but just, people by people, and that's the biggest thing, and be interesting about it. And I think you'll be able to grow that following a lot quicker. But there are other strategies and tactics that you can also do, like start following people that you think would be your ideal audience so that they follow you back, and keep adding to your content machine.
Yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying. Trust is certainly important, because you may not think it's anything when somebody follows you, but in reality it is, because time is money. And with a world full of folks out there that are trying to grab those eyeballs for a certain amount of time, for the entire video, for the entire social media platform, folks out there, like I know for myself that when I see something that's interesting to me, I'll actually go and look at their profile and see, is this person consistent? Like, can I trust this person to post on a regular basis? And is this person authentic? And it's interesting, Yasmin, because the other day I was listening to a podcast, and one of the things that this person was talking about, his name is Andy Pizza, and he's out of Columbus, Ohio, and he runs a podcast about being creative. And he was talking about the fabric of who you are following your category or your niche that you're in. And I started thinking about myself. And one of the things that I believe that I am perfect for this space that I'm in right now is because I look back as far as I can remember from the day that I was born to being an adult. I was born a military brat next to a military base in Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. I was, raised typical military brat, moving around a lot. And then I went into the military myself, and I feel like, wow, like I never thought about it in that concept, that it goes back that far. So when you're talking about, connecting with people and also being who you are, and I really think that resonates with me. And I overall, when you're talking about connecting with people, I think that's really important if you're looking to be creative as well. So
yeah, absolutely. That's like the number one thing. And there's other things that practically you can also do to grow your following, which is using data to make your decisions, right? So when you're posting things, look at the metrics around it and keep doing what's working. Or follow other influencers in your space, see what they're doing and model it, not copy. But if they're doing more videos, or they're doing 15-second reels versus 3-minute videos, things like that will give you a better idea. So that way you don't feel like you're necessarily throwing spaghetti on the wall as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of little things, but
right.
Primarily it's you. Who are you? What's your story? Why should they want to listen to you? And how can they connect with you? That's really what it is. It's connection.
Definitely. You have to be able to stomach whatever it is that you're doing every day, and have enough passion to think about it when you go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning and throughout your day. So I certainly agree with that as well. The analytics is really important as well. And that's something that, folks like you are really, really great at, as far as taking a look at. And we've talked about that before, like the whole back end of the social media platforms is something that you kind of enjoy doing. And that to me, that's the toughest part. So
it's hard to do it all. That's
you.
for sure. Being the face of the company and then also doing like back end operations, and it is tough doing a lot of it. But if you get into a rhythm, then you can hire someone and offload that to then be able to have you focus on what you're really good at or what you enjoy.
Totally. And so, Yasmin, would you mind talking to us about who has been your inspiration when it comes to marketing? And what tactics or lessons have you learned from your time being in this space overall foundationally?
Yeah, I love that question because I've been in marketing my entire career. I worked for corporate 500 startup companies that were run by a lot of corporate people. And, I went to school for marketing as well, but a lot of it was very traditional. And everything that I was trying to do that was different wasn't always accepted, or I got a lot of pushback. And so as I started to venture out on my own, one of the things that you do when you start your own anything is that you just do a lot of research and education. And I stumbled upon two individuals that I'm very grateful for, because everything just started to come together and the dots were all connected. But it was Steve Larson, who's also a Army vet, and he's a coach of mine, and as well as Russell Brunson, who was a mentor and coach of Steve's, where Russell really, I'm on a first name basis with him. He introduced and made online sales funnels normal and available to a lot of people, which pretty much means that you have more accessibility to making more money and to your audience. And the way he's got this gift for simplifying a lot of marketing. But so in terms of Steve, one of the things that I really appreciate about Steve was, and even Russell too, but Steve went a lot more in depth in terms of understanding the foundations of marketing. So outside of the internet, when the internet started, how did marketing really work before the internet came out? So old school marketers. And Russell also talks a lot about this in a lot of his books that he has, but it's, using psychology and foundational principles and applying it to things that can help speed up your success, whether it's getting more customers, having access to them, making more money. And that's what's really important, because marketing is all about psychology, and it's about human behaviors and then patterns, identifying these patterns and applying them. And people behave differently in different mediums. So whether it's online, in person, over the phone. And so you need to understand where your audience is at, what channels they use, what patterns they use, and what are the psychology behind their behaviors. And you then start assimilating your strategy and tactics to that. And so when you understand that foundationally, then it doesn't matter what the next thing is. You just adjust a little bit, but you understand what drives people to buy and to motivate them.
Yeah, that's a huge ceiling to break through right there, is just trying to figure out, what drives, what motivates them, because man, it's so competitive out there, isn't it?
It's very competitive. And that's where, from our previous conversation about people buying people, connection, do they trust you? That matters a lot. And social media is great because it gives people direct access to you, whatever way that, you want to put yourself out there. But if people can really feel like they get to know you over time, and this is the other thing about marketing that most people don't really, I'm going to say they don't like about it, is that it does take time sometimes, in terms of nurturing people. And a lot of times people think, well, let me just post something online and they should come, right? And it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it does. That's more of the exception, not the rule. But there's a lot of testing that needs to be involved in marketing, and you have to be patient because you need to test. It's kind of like failing forward in marketing as well. Put stuff out there, test it out, see if it works. If it doesn't, change one variable at a time and see how that does. And so there is a framework, there is a strategy behind all of that, but a lot of it is testing and patience. And that's not, that doesn't go well with many people, right? But
No.
You have no other choice.
Right. No, you don't. I mean, you really don't. It's trial and error, keep trying over. I mean, the Wright brothers, they didn't get it right on the first time, right? When they were trying to fly. And that's sort of how it is right now. Not sort of, that is how it is when it's when you're trying to build your own brand and you're marketing for yourself, especially if you don't have the background and you're trying to figure it out. I know when I started podcasting, I started out with a USB microphone, and then I started out, using wired. It was just this evolution of process of trying to figure out, how do I do this? I had horrible recordings. I had great recordings. And it was so frustrating because I would literally waste so much time just trials and failing and coming back at it. And there's so many times where I thought, man, I should just quit. And, you got to ask yourself at that point, look yourself in the mirror, like, is this something that I really want to do? And, fortunately I was able to connect with folks like you and Jay from Act Now Education, and you're able to motivate me as well. So going back to what you said earlier, that connection is really important because you guys helped keep me in the game when I kind of had my head below water and I was looking at, maybe thinking about doing something else other than this. But so I really appreciate you being part of my team and me being part of your circle as well. And
you've helped me out so many times. So I feelings definitely mutual for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, that like you make a really good point, right? Like we all, when we go on this entrepreneurial journey, we all have those moments where we're like, man, is this what I really want to do? Because we hit these walls constantly. And that again goes back to, we are problem solvers. And so if we really want success, it's up to us. If we don't succeed, it's really because of us. It has nothing to do, most times it has nothing to do with circumstances or the situation. It's really like, are we willing to keep going? Are we willing to change stuff about ourselves that require us to be better and grow?
Right.
And so, yeah, it's definitely a test, but it's very, very much worth it if you keep going.
Yeah. It's like my old man used to tell me, nothing happened is overnight. And
if it was easy, everyone would do it.
Yes, exactly. And, going forward, in 2022, things have been quite interesting. In your opinion, and from your experience, 2022, 2023, 2024, what do you see taking place with marketing going into the future?
Well, there's going to be a lot more noise, right? There's already a lot of noise with all the content that's out there. I know one of the things that is just getting pushed even more so are videos, right? Instagram, not too long ago said, hey, we're not a picture platform, we're a video platform. And then you got TikTok, and the attention spans are shorter, right? So when you're using those types of platforms like Instagram and TikTok, they want short, quick content to keep people's attention. And then you have YouTube where they're doing shorts, where they're short reels, like in YouTube, but then they have longer ones. And so obviously there's a lot more of a push for video, and then adding high value content, interesting content, fun content, kind of intertwine educational and entertainment. And it's, who knows what the next thing is going to be. Maybe it's going to be holograms, but that might be in 20 years or so. But it's really, it's just all about connecting. How can you get easier access to your audience? How can you connect with them? And video is the best way to get that. So that's where I see it going. And it's a lot more personalization for sure.
Yeah, man. I tell you, it's hard to think back, but think back to 98, 99 when I graduated high school. What type of internet, what type of social media did we have? It was almost non-existent in itself. And, to where we are now, you're talking about holograms, and they've got the metaverse around the corner. And it's just, it's absolutely insane and mind blowing to think about where we're going to be in the future and how things are going to work for marketing. And it's all about making sure that you stay up with things. Cause I've been trying to tackle other platforms like TikTok, and something just as simple as that, like understanding how to edit and how it works, and what makes that pulse and what makes that algorithm work. Man, it's challenging. I can't imagine going into even greater, deeper technologies going into the future, like you're talking about holograms and even the metaverse and all this other crazy stuff. So, man, hang on to your seats, because I think we're in for it here in the next 5 or 10 years with where we're going to be with the internet and everything, just evolution of our overall systems that we have.
Yeah, absolutely. But then that goes back to an earlier comment and point that we were talking about, which is the foundations are still the same when it comes to psychology. The channel is going to be different, whether it's video, whether it's, images or hologram, whatever, but it's all around psychology, and that's not going to change. So if you understand that and understand who your audience is and what they really want, you're just going to apply it to a different platform and understand the tactics of that platform. And so that's why it's even more important to understand the psychology and look at the patterns where people are behaving in certain ways. How do they buy now? What's the way they want to buy? Is it now we have like the phones where you don't even have to take out your credit card, right? Just double click on your phone and you can pay.
Yep.
And so it's just, how can you make things more convenient and useful? And that usually wins the game.
Yeah. No, you're 100% correct. It's all about the basics. And you can break that down into sports. You can break that down into, I used to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu quite a bit. It's all about the basics. Anyone will tell you it's all about 101 basics. And when you're talking about the psychology, if you don't have that and you don't understand, your brand and people in general, you don't have anything. You're just a creative mind that's empty as far as content goes. So you're excellent advice. And, you operate a business called Trend Lab. I'd like to know, for folks out there listening right now, when they align themselves with you and your business, Trend Labs, what are they getting out of that? What can they expect to get from Yasmin George when they're working with you and your business?
Well, it comes down to the foundation. So I initially started out when I was venturing on my own as a marketing agency because I was like, well, what do people want? And they all say, oh, I just want leads. So I did a lot of social media ads and drove leads to them. But what I found was that they still didn't understand the strategy behind their business. They didn't really understand who their customers are. And so I wanted to help solve that problem of, as you know, most businesses, they don't last beyond a couple years or 5 years. And so marketing, I know, is a huge component that there's a gap that most people don't understand, entrepreneurs don't understand. So I wanted to help with that psychology and the strategy and helping them understand how can they apply that to their business and helping them create a business model so that they can make more long-term. And so when I work with my clients, it's really about understanding, what they actually want in their life goals, because your business should work for your life and not the other way around. That's how people get drained and burnt out, and then they don't succeed or last down the line. And so aligning yourself with what you want, what you want for your business, and then how do you make that happen using marketing, using the strategy and the tactics that actually work. And so when you get that clarity, it becomes a lot easier to push forward instead of just throwing spaghetti on the wall. That's the analogy I like to use all the time because that's what happens when it comes to marketing. And knowing your customers so in depth that as you build rapport with them, they're going to say, well, hey, you helped me solve this one problem. What's the next problem that they're going to have? And you can stay a step ahead. So that way you keep them in your ecosystem. And so you become this, I don't want to say one-stop shop, but they feel like they can trust you because you're really helping them down the line. So it's more than just one tactic of, hey, how to do well on Instagram and social media, but it's more of like, how do you have a sustaining business model and applying marketing to get that sustained business model.
So it sounds like what they can get is they're going to get folks coming through their doors, but then they're also going to get the infrastructure, the shelving, the overall template on how to keep folks there in the store, but then for not just for a time purchase, get out, but to keep solving problems for folks out there. So it just sounds like overall from start to finish that it's a winning situation when they're working with Trend Lab and Yasmin, or is that right?
Yeah, that's the idea, right? And so I'm just like a personal trainer. I can tell you exactly what you need to do and show you what you need to do, guide you through it, but you have to do the hard work of maintaining it. And that's where a lot of people struggle as well, because it's, again, like working out. It's like you need to build up that stamina to do something different or to think differently. But the idea is you are the head of your company. You should understand the language. You don't need to work in your business. You want to be able to work on it. So you want to be able to offload a lot of the marketing to someone else, but you need to understand the language enough to be able to give direction and strategy, because that's what they're looking to you for. And so what I really focus on is figuring out how can you be the head of your company working on your business, not in it, using data, using strategy and tactics, and then back in operations to make sure you have a marketing machine that makes you money. So
I never thought about that before. A personal trainer. You're exactly right. It's funny. I just went to a personal trainer yesterday to learn kettlebells, and I got all this information, and now it's up to me to use it. Right. So that's a perfect example. And just to round things off here towards the end of our episode, I want to talk, Yasmin, about your role with Act Now Education and how was your recent campaign with the overall organization?
Yeah, first of all, Act Now is awesome. Jay is awesome. I met Jay a few years ago, and he was very pivotal in helping me transition into the coaching and consulting company as well. And so he's, I'm going to take a minute to talk about him. Like, he's such a genuine guy. His vision and his care for our military community, you can just you can just feel it, and it definitely extends among the entire community because strangers are just helping each other out in our group. And in terms of, what we've been doing, obviously we are a fully volunteer-based or team, and meeting people like you and Mickey and Nicole and Tyrone, like everybody's just really awesome. And so we're trying to focus on growing the community and expanding out to other groups, whether it's reservists and military spouses. And we recently just did a campaign for military spouses, which I was really excited to be a part of and run that. And it's to help them really realize their potential, that there are opportunities out there for them. There are a lot of mentors and organizations that are specifically for them to help them grow personally, professionally, and in their current situation. And it was really awesome working with, we had some new volunteers that joined us to help us with this campaign. We had some, our board members. And so it was a really great project that we worked on for about 6 weeks. And we did a full launch campaign to get as many military spouses as we could in that short period of time. And obviously it's going to be an ongoing initiative to help as many, like we were trying to get 1,000 military spouses within a short period of time. We didn't necessarily hit the mark, but what we did is we did set a precedence that this is a continued ongoing operation for us to really help our military spouse community. And it's been great, and was a partnership with ACP, American Corporate Partners, to get them the guidance and the mentorship that they need. And, I think mentorship is extremely crucial, whether you're trying to get a job or start a business. So I thought it was a perfect balance to get people going and help our team also grow internally.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I was part of that campaign.
You were critical. So I'm so grateful to you. I couldn't have done it without you.
No. I learned a lot.
We're a good team, though.
You're definitely a great team. I appreciated you letting me be a part of it, and you also helping me out with that too, because I unlocked and opened doors that I did not know that I had when it came to the backside of things, when it came to video editing and creativeness. So thank you for that, for making me my best and making me better when it comes to doing what we're doing right now. And that's why I loved it. There's a lot of great times and frustrating times during such a campaign like that. But at the end of the day, the things that we didn't do and the things that we did do, I overall am very, very proud of the team for coming together, and I'm proud of you for being kind of like the composer of this gigantic orchestra of mixed instruments, and you managed to get everyone to do things at a certain time and working together. So thank you, Yasmin. You did an outstanding job overall. And I'm not just saying that because you're sitting here in front of me. I would say that anytime. I think you did a great job overall. And I'm very, very thankful to have been part of that overall experience.
Thank you. Like, it was an honor really to work with such talented people. And like I said, many of us haven't even worked together before.
Right.
And again, this goes back to the military community and the resiliency and the resourcefulness. Everyone just... They carried their weight and beyond to make it happen, for the mission.
Yeah, I mean,
so
think about how many different time zones we were in.
Yeah, it was definitely challenging. That's for sure. But I think we did really well, and I'm really proud of everyone. It was such an honor.
I am too. Yasmin, for folks out there that have been listening to this show and are interested in connecting with you, what's the best way that they can connect with you on social media or email? What social platforms are you on right now?
I primarily use Facebook. I've been starting TikTok lately, just trying a new platform as well. And I'm definitely on LinkedIn. I'm not active in terms of posting because my audience is more, try to choose one channel, two max is more on Facebook, but I'm definitely, open on LinkedIn. So if you do reach out to me on LinkedIn, feel free. But I definitely rather use social media because I want people to get to know me versus just send an email or go to my website, which is thetrendlab.co. But yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn are the primary ones on social media.
Awesome. So I'll make sure I put all those down in the show notes. So if you're interested, just scroll down to if you're listening to this on the podcast, just scroll down to the bottom. You'll see all the show notes down there. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can, same thing, go to the bottom. You'll see all the show notes down there. You'll see where you can connect with Yasmin. Is there anything that you'd like to tell everyone out there before we finish off the show today?
I would probably say, don't say no to opportunities. If there's an opportunity that shows up, definitely take advantage of it, because you never know what skill that you're going to acquire from it and the people that you'll meet. So always be open. Even if you're afraid or you feel like you don't have the confidence to do something, lean in, because you really don't know what your capability is until you put yourself in that position or push yourself against that wall, and you'll be surprised. Just like you said, KP, like when you did this campaign, you realized how much more capability you had doing, and you leaned in. You're like, I've never done a campaign like this before, but you leaned in a lot, and you learned something new about yourself. You contributed tremendously to the team and to the campaign. And so just be more open to opportunities, seek out opportunities, and realize that your potential is a lot more than you even think it is.
Yeah, that's actually really great advice as far as challenging yourself, right? And trying new things. And that's sort of what we did there. Before we finish up, we got a couple minutes left. Would you mind sharing with everybody what a jade roller is?
So yes, this is a jade roller to tone and to, I guess, get blood circulation for your face.
See, I saw that on Yasmin's coffee table, and I thought that was for her feet.
Yeah. I use it because I get a lot of sinus headaches. And so to alleviate the pressure, it works really well because it's also very cool. But that's what it's for. And men and women can use it. It's not just for women.
I think I do need that though. Like right here, I got a wrinkle like right there that I need to iron out.
You should definitely use it because it feels really good. It feels really good.
So, by the way, we're not getting paid by Jade Roller for that advertisement there. But,
I'm going to gift you one of these for sure.
I need one. I'm 42 now, so I'm getting crow's feet over here and everything else. I need to fix myself.
Well, you look a lot younger than your age, that's for sure. But the Jade Roller will make you look even younger. So
that's what I'm talking about.
Definitely get one.
Yasmin, thank you so much for the entertaining interview today. It's fascinating to hear your insights on marketing and branding. And I hope that anyone listening out there was able to gain a couple of ideas or some pieces of advice from Yasmin. But if you're interested in connecting with her, just go down to the show notes and find her on LinkedIn, TikTok, and Facebook as well, or just go to her website. Yasmin, thank you for joining the Morning Formation today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad to help anyone if they reach out, especially from our community. We are like family, and I really want to see everyone from our military community succeed. And so if there's anything I do to help, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks for having me.
That's what the honor's all mine, and that's what it's all about. It's like family. So for everyone else out there, I want you to stay tuned, stay focused, and stay motivated. Warriors, fall out. You've been listening to the Morning Formation Podcast. I hope you found today's materials helpful and of value to your current situation. You can connect with me on Instagram at _morning_formation_podcast, or you can connect with me via email at theformationpodcaster@gmail.com. Also, I would like to thank my partners at Act Now Education for their support. Authenticity, community, and trusted is what you can expect from all members of the Act Now Education team. You can link up with them today and learn about some new free educational resources on their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or at their website, actnoweducation.com. Whether today's show took you back to a nostalgic time or helped you think about tomorrow, thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again. Stay safe and stay motivated. Warriors, fall out.